If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
How's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV back here with another video. So, of course, it's time to continue on to What If NASCAR Had the F1 Points Format series. So, the last time in this series, we wrapped up Phase 2 by taking a look at the Wheel and Southern Modifieds to learn that pretty much next to nothing really changed in that series under the F1 Points format. And in this series, we're going to begin Phase 3 of the What If series and the final phase of the What If series by taking a look at some more active NASCAR series. So we're going to start it off by taking a look at the active ARCA West Series. So, of course, the ARCA West Series, this series began in 1964. It began as the Pacific West Coast Division, then became the Grand National West Series, then the Winston West, and then the K&N West Series, and now the ARCA West Series. So we're going to take a look at this series and see what would have changed if they used the F1 points format. So we're going to start this off by taking a look at the 1960s, starting in 1964 till 1969. Like I mentioned in the last part, some of these series we're going to tackle, it's all going to depend on how far back I can go back, and the furthest I could go back to was 1964 for ARCA West. I couldn't go further back for 1954 to 1963. So from 54 to 63, those champions will remain the same regardless. Since I couldn't go further back, so those champions remain the same. So we're going to start this part of the What If series from 1964 on. So yeah, anyway, continuing on though, on the screen now is the points format we're going to be using for this part. The only points format we're using for this part here. And before we continue on, let me once again stress out that this is just a hypothetical scenario. I know everybody would have raced differently had to use the F1 points format. This is just for fun. So now, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. So 1964, it was a very close two-man battle for the championship between Ron Hornaday Sr. and Bill and Mac. Those two were just the class of the field all year in terms of speed and consistency. Nobody had an answer for either of them. Very close championship battle between the two that in the end, this championship battle would go all the way down to the season finale at Ascot Park, with Hornaday and the Mac entering tied for the points lead entering Ascot Park. So it was set up in the race to where whoever finished above the other, whoever finished the highest, would end up winning the championship. In the end, though, in the season finale, both drivers ran up front for a majority of the race. In the end, though, Hornaday would end up finishing second in the season finale, while Bill and Mac would end up finishing fourth. And Hornaday's second place finish, it would be enough for Ron Hornaday to win the 1964 championship over Bill and Mac by only 3 points. So under this format, this would be Hornaday's second championship, and Hornaday would still go back-to-back in 1964. So the 1965 season, it was all about Bill and Mac. Bill and Mac was just a class of the field all year in the ARCA West Series in 1965 in terms of speed and consistency. Like, nobody had an answer for Bill and Mac. Mick, however it's pronounced. But anyway, Bill and Mick, he would end up easily going on and cruising to the 1965 championship. So the 1966 championship, it would go all the way down to the season finale between Jack McCoy, Ray Elder, Johnny Steele, and Marvin Porter. Those four would be the only ones eligible for the championship. Now, Scotty Kane and Dave James were also part of this championship battle too, but sadly, not everyone can compete for the championship, and they failed to be consistent in key moments of the year when it mattered the most, so they were eliminated with around a race or two to go in the year. Around two, more so. But in the end, though, these four would be the ones that would battle for the title, with Marvin Porter entering with a 2-point lead over Jack McCoy, a 5-point lead over Ray Elder, and a 7-point lead over Johnny Steele entering the season finale at the California State Fairgrounds. So pretty much Jack McCoy just needed to finish a couple spots ahead of Marvin Porter to win the title. Ray Elder pretty much needed to finish top two and hope Porter finishes outside the points to have a shot at the title. And Johnny Steele effectively needed to win the race and needed Marvin to finish 6th or worse to have a shot at the title. In the end, though, in a very anticlimactic season finale, neither of those four really ran up front, or they all had issues, and all four finished outside the top 6 in points. So, in a very anticlimactic finale, the championship was effectively decided the week prior, and Marvin Porter would end up winning the championship by 2 points over Jack McCoy by default. So Marvin Porter would win the 1966 championship, and under this format, this would be Porter's second title. So the 1967 battle for the ARCA West Championship, it would have been a two-man battle for the title between Scotty Kane and Cliff Gardner. Those two were the class of the field all year in terms of speed and consistency. Now, Ray Elder was also part of this battle too, but sadly, not everyone can compete for the title. In the end, though, Gardner and Elder would end up failing to be consistent in key moments of the year when it mattered the most. Scotty Kane would take full advantage of it, and he would end up locking up the championship with a race to go in the season. So Scotty Kane would win his first ARCA West Championship in 1967. So the 1968 championship, it was a very close two-man battle for the title between Ray Elder and Jack McCoy. Those two were the class of the field all year in terms of speed and consistency. In the end, now this championship would have gone down to the season finale at Saugus Speedway, with Elder entering with a 1-point lead over McCoy. However, though, Jack McCoy chose not to compete in the season finale at Saugus Speedway. Since, in the 60s, it was very common for a lot of drivers to run part-time and not compete in all the races because of traveling and all that in the 60s, because technology wasn't as advanced as it is today. So as a result of that, it didn't even matter what Ray Elder did in the finale, because Ray Elder was guaranteed the title no matter what. Since the only guy that could have caught him in points was McCoy, and he didn't even show up for the race. So in the end, Ray Elder would end up winning the 1968 championship by default over McCoy by 3 points, since Elder finished 5th and gained 2 more points just to prove that he was truly the rightful champion. So Ray Elder would win the championship in 1968 in a very unique way of winning it. So the 1969 championship, the season was all about Jack McCoy. Jack was just the master of just speed and consistency all year. Like, nobody had an answer for Jack McCoy in 1969. And Jack McCoy, he would end up easily going on and cruising to his first ARCA West Championship in 1969. So yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this part of What If NASCAR had F1 points format. So yeah, pretty interesting how it would have gone on ARCA West in the 60s. Like, in this part for ARCA West in the 60s, as far back as I could go, we had 3 title battles go down to the season finale, those being 1964, 1966, and 1968. And we also had 3 title changes under the F1 points format in the short time span. Those title changes taking place in 1966, 1968, and 1969. So yeah, a couple things changed, but a couple things stayed the same. Like, if I could go all the way back to 1954 for the ARCA West Series, I would, but I'm just doing the best I can with what I got. And 1964 was the furthest I could go back, so we're going to go from 1964 for ARCA West all the way to present day. And we're also going to do the same thing for ARCA East, the ARCA Series as far back as I can, Wheel and Modifieds as far back as I can, the Penny Series as far back as I can, along with Mexico and the Euro Series as far back as I can. So yeah, that's going to be all of Phase 3. It's going to be all the NASCAR Series, and the Phase finales will be 2020 for the other series, NASCAR Series I didn't do, and then 2021 for every single NASCAR Series. So yeah, you got all that to look forward to. So next time in this series, we're going to take a look at ARCA West in the 1970s, aka the start of NASCAR's modern era, and see what would have changed if they used the F1 points format. So yeah, anyway, the next part comes out depending on how fast I make it, and like I said, most of these parts I'm going to be doing from here on out till maybe 2022. They're all going to take a backseat to NFL content and other content, since I do got some NASCAR diecasts coming up, so I got a couple unboxings there to do. So you got those to look forward to. But like I said, the series ain't going anywhere. You'll still have it. I'll still be doing these videos a bit in the off-season, hopefully. Like I said, it all depends on how fast I make these parts. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this part. That's all I got to say. Hope everyone's a great day, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Peace out.